what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Hope everybody has had a great week. Had a pretty good week. Kind of a chill week. Been good, though. Looks like we already got Yves Simard in the chat. We got Rosie in the chat. And don't worry, I've got a couple of those videos you sent that will be showing on the show tonight. So don't worry about that. Look at that, 4 watching and 4 likes. That's excellent news. Let's see. Looks like Free Dix has been on. I don't know. Free Dix was in the chat. He might not be here now. I don't know. Let us know. But welcome in. All right. So it's the Friday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. What are we going to talk about? Well, a whole bunch of stuff. I like to have this on the screen first. This thing with Trump, with the ducks and the kittens and the cats. And, I just like it. It's just, I find it wholesome. Personally, it's wholesome because, in this, in this kind of fairly degenerate Western civilization that we're living in right now, we need some things that are wholesome, that just make us feel good, some aspirational stuff. And what is more aspirational, what is more wholesome than a muscle-bound Trump saving some cats? There's nothing else. But what are we going to get into tonight? Well, first off, can you believe this? Toronto teachers take students on field trip to pro-Palestinian march, lead them in anti-Semitic chants. Why are they doing that? It seems like every institution just needs to be just cleaned out, just disinfected. This is lunacy. They're kids. They're kids. These are like, grade 8, grade 9 students? They're not there for you to propagandize. Apparently, on grade 7th and 8th graders, they're not there for you to propagandize. You're supposed to be teaching them like how to read and do math and stuff, and a bit of real history. A bit of real history might be helpful. Why don't you teach them about all the crimes of communists throughout history? Why don't you teach them what the Holodomor say? Teach them about all the awful things that have happened under Marxism, Leninism. Teach them about what Stalin did. Teach them what Mao was up to. All kinds of bad stuff. Horrifying, unimaginably horrifying stuff. Maybe teach them some of that. They're not going to do that, though, because they're commies, right? They're commies themselves. So let's go over the menu. So we're talking about that. Trump called for National Guard to be on hand for January 6th. Pentagon officials delayed over optics. So we've known for some time that Trump was trying to get a National Guard at the Capitol on January 6th because he was worried things would get out of hand. It was denied. Almost feels like somebody wanted it to happen. Strange. What else we got? When I was watching the debate and I was listening to Kamala lying about everything, jobs and inflation, everything, I thought, maybe we should do something on the live stream where we'll just do like a fact check. We'll do a little fact check so that we're all armed with the actual facts. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over Biden misleads on job creation statistics. I'm going to remind everybody about, let's make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to remind everybody about the massive, what's going on here? What just happened? Oh, we don't want that. About the massive overstatement of jobs by the Biden administration, turned out to be 818,000 between March 2023 and March 2024. So we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at the actual inflation. Remember, Kamala said it was 9% or something when Biden and her took over? And I knew that wasn't true, but here, let's look at the actual stats. It's 1.4% for 2020. Let's see, January 2021, 1.4%. Interesting. I thought we'd go through that a little bit. It's educational. It's good. Election board in crucial swing state issues controversial ruling requiring hand counting of ballots. Hand counting of ballots. And some Republicans have opposed that. It seems like anything you can do to increase election integrity seems to be like a good thing to me. But no, apparently not everybody thinks that way. Let's see. I thought we'd take a look at the interactive election map. We haven't done this for a little while. And we can go through and take a look. I mean, Georgia's in there, right? Right now, that's a toss-up. We can take a look at what happens if Trump gets that. If perhaps this makes some sort of a difference, this requiring hand counting of ballots, which I think is how every other country in the world does it. Now, let's make this a little bigger too. There we go. But we can go through this. We can play with this. We can see what happens if some of these states go blue or red. It's fun. Also kind of scary. Let's see. Governor Newsom signs bill to combat deepfake election content. Now, this is all about these ads. Where are they all? So there are these memes, essentially, these kind of satire parody ads that have been coming out, which Elon Musk is championing. And I mean, they're like AI, but they're very clearly not real. They're very clearly satire. I mean, you can't be stupid enough to not realize it. It's an interesting story here because there is a concern about deep fakes that are not obvious satire. But I think that really what you can count on in this is it just going after that seems to be the template, right? Just going after anything they don't like or that's critical of them, so critical of somebody like Gavin Newsom, right? So it's another step along that censorship road. Yeah, we got JJ Nevada in the chat. Good to see you. He just hit the like button. You get some applause for that. Let's see. Eve said that. Let's make this live the one with the most thumbs up ever. I couldn't agree more. All right. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. And it's an interesting issue because there is a real concern to be had about it. Because if it's done in a subtle way, it could actually trick people. I mean, you can do it in a way that will trick people in a subtle enough way. Like there's a lot of things you could make Trump say, which sound a lot of people would find believable, even if people who actually follow him closely would say, no, that's clearly fake. But we'll see. Tex, let's see, what do I got here? So Springfield. So I don't know. I just like this stuff.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the...
I just like that sort of thing. That seems to be what the internet's for. So Springfield, we'll just kind of keep up with new stuff as it comes through regarding that. Here's a guy who's complaining. He's from Springfield. He's saying the jobs are getting took up, man. Our factory needs 50 people. Well, that could be 50 Americans that don't have a job. Instead, the Haitians, they take exactly all those 50 spots. This is the real stuff that they want to hide. Let's see. What else we got? We've got some stuff on Trump here. Of course, we're going to talk about Trump. A bunch of stuff on the election we just put together. We'll go through a bunch of stuff on that. Let's see. What else we got here? We're going to talk about this second Trump shooter guy. And he's just a bit weird, isn't he? You know, like how was he traveling to all these places? Traveling to Ukraine and Poland and Turkey. And apparently he doesn't have any money, but he's flying around to Hawaii and doesn't make a lot of sense. How did he know where Trump was going to be? Don't expect any answers from the authorities, from the Secret Service or the FBI, but maybe we get something from DeSantis, who's taking over that case, or at least a part of that case, or they're doing their own investigation. We've got word salad from Kamala. Word salad from Kamala. And I believe we also have a couple of new Is She Drunk? Is She Drunk videos too. That'll be fun. Let's see. We'll go through Canada election stuff. So this is something we'll have to spend a second on. I think Dramus wanted me to talk about this. Bloc Québécois. The Bloc Québécois is now decided that they're going to, their strategy is to try and extort as much out of Justin Trudeau and really from Western Canada, as much money from Western Canada through Justin Trudeau, who will be very happy to do it because he hates the West. Try and extort as much as possible to keep Justin Trudeau in power, essentially. And he has the power to do that. He has the power to prevent a no confidence vote in Parliament, which would trigger a new election. And if you're Canadian and you're not outraged by this, something's wrong. I mean, look, I've always admired Quebec's determination to protect their own culture, to not be ashamed of themselves. But this is not it. This is not it. This is just a massive insult to the rest of Canada, intended to just extort money, to extort their money through Justin Trudeau. This is a mistake. I think this is going to piss off a lot of people. A lot of people in Canada at this point are saying, then just fuck off. Fuck off, go have your own country. And on the day of independence, on the 2nd of independence, not another fucking penny. This is gross what he's doing. It's disgusting. But anyway. And normally I defend Quebec, but this is disgusting. I mean, it's not everybody in Quebec. It's him, right? It's this sneaky little fucker. Let's see. Justin Trudeau, we're going to make fun of course. I think we've got another couple videos of Kamala drunk. Let's see what else we got. We got some Tulsi stuff. This one was suggested by Rosie. Give Rosie a hand. This one was just suggested by me. Never gets old. I got a couple here from Rosie, I think. But anyway, of course, we've got Grok versus Trudeau. We'll do this. I'll tell you what the poem is now, and we'll read what the poem is. If you haven't been to the channel before, every Friday I get Grok, that's the Twitter AI, now X AI, to write a poem about Justin Trudeau. There are 3 things that must happen. 1, he must do blackface. 2, he must get a vaginoplasty. 3, he must be launched from a giant cannon into the sun. And then, whatever around that will just work. And then Grok will write a poem about it. I'm doing this every Friday until Justin Trudeau is no longer in power. And I'm really hoping for an election, not least because I've done so many. I must have done 100 of these so far, and it's getting hard to keep coming up with stuff. But I'll tell you what the prompt is for Grok, and then we'll actually look at the poem that it makes later. I think you're going to like it, though. Write a poem about Justin Trudeau. In a bid to increase his popularity, dubs himself the Canadian Black Panther, modeling himself after the Marvel character. Wearing his hand-sewn, we got to make this a bit bigger, wearing his hand-sewn Black Panther costume and donning shoe polish on his face, he holds a press conference to announce he will use his Black Panther powers to fight against free speech, affordable housing, reliable health care, and anything remotely sane. Then breaking into hysterical tears, he announces that he will sneak into Canadian homes in the middle of the night to transition all of the nation's children and pets. Still weeping hysterically, he then gives himself a vaginoplasty operation in front of a horrified press gallery. That afternoon, by popular demand, he is loaded into a giant cannon and launched into the sun. So I think you're going to look forward. I think you should look forward to that poem. It's going to be coming tonight during the live stream, but not right now. And this, we're going to go back to this. This will be our puppy, or normally we have the puppy palate cleanser. So if there's some news that's too awful that we cover that really is depressing, we'll go to the palate cleanser, right? To just cleanse that out, cleanse the bad taste out of all of the woke lunacy that's happening. And look at something nice, and it makes you feel better, and then it gives you the strength, and it refreshes you to go on with the rest of the stream. All right, and then, of course, we also have this. So anytime you guys are feeling particularly down, just ask. Just ask. Yellow shirt. Yellow shirt. My God, that's mesmerizing. It's hypnotic. Man, I wish she'd worked at the lunch counter at my school when I was a kid. Good Lord, but wouldn't have been able to focus on work. She's a great cook. Great cook. All right. All right. Let's go to the chat for a moment. Let's catch up. Now, I've got some bad news for you guys. It looks like there's a glitch again, and there's not going to be any ad reads tonight because the same thing that happened a couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago appears to be happening now. So there are no ad reads available for me. So you guys are not going to have the joy and the pleasure of listening to me read ads because I can't, because it's not working again. So you guys are poor for that, for not hearing me masterfully read the ads, and I'm going to be about $1.73 poorer for not having read the ads. So yeah, I guess we'll just both have to learn to live with it. Okay, so what are you guys saying here? You guys are the most important part of the show anyway, so I should probably just read chat all night, really. Antipop says they're... Oh, how you doing, Antipop? Good to see ya. They're painting a dog to look like pandas in the Chinese zoos. I saw that. It might be in the live stream tab. All the stuff that... Did we go over that as well? Did we go over that quickly? Just all the random stuff. All the random stuff I put together. It might be in here somewhere. Yeah, we got some Ricky Gervais in here, by the way. We got some Christopher Hitchens, which is great stuff. Every word of his ever put down on video is a masterpiece. Elon, we got a lady with tattoos over her face. And you know what? You'd never guess this. She's having trouble finding a job. I know. It's crazy. Who could have imagined? We got Nancy Mace there. She's got an interesting story to tell us. Yeah, there's lots of stuff. Anyway, let's go back. All right. But yes, I did see this. Painting dogs to look like pandas in Chinese zoos. What a crazy country, huh? I mean, I'm like a small amount of regulations guy, like the least amount of regulations that you can get away with and things still work. But there it's just like, I don't know. I mean, you need something to keep them from painting dogs to look like pandas in the zoos. And I guess people just believe it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, if people believe it, what's really the harm, I guess, except for maybe the dog. Maybe the dog is probably like the most toxic paint that you can find in the world, which I believe exists in China. I think the most toxic everything in the world is in China. Although I think there's a lot of toxic stuff probably in India as well, but just something made because that's the thing we had to have regulations for, right? To make sure that the stuff coming from China, like the children's toys, weren't made out of like depleted uranium. As it turned out that like 80% of the toys were made out of just like lead or depleted uranium or something like that, or just like everything was mixed with mercury. So. Yeah, maybe we'll try and if I don't have that in the already in the bookmarks, we'll try and find that later, Antipop. But anyway, good catch there. Rosie's talking about Rosie is now following me on Twitter. So I've been asking everybody if you want to, throw out suggestions, whatever, you can throw it on my timeline on Twitter. If you got things you want me to talk about in the stream, and a couple of you guys, Dramus did Rosie as well, but I knew it was Rosie because it was the picture is of her. So I know that's somebody who watches my streams. So, and it also said Rosie. But anyway, I guess we'll follow there. I think it's a good place for us to kind of share ideas and stuff. So I don't know. You get on it. You don't have to. I mean, but if you want to, there we go. JJ Nevada, into the sun. Anybody who watches this stream regularly knows what into the sun means and who it's talking about. It's talking about Justin Trudeau. talking about Justin Trudeau being loaded into a giant cannon and then launched into the sun. Looks like we got John Arnott in the chat. Let's see, John Arnott. Leave him to the Canucks. I think you're talking about Trudeau there. I agree. We are sure to vote him out at our earliest convenience, which looks like, because of the Bloc, we're not going to be able to do that until, well, I don't. Maybe the spring. Maybe the spring. Once Blanchette has extorted everything he possibly can out of Trudeau, which Trudeau will happily give, but there'll come a point where it's just too much. At that point, he'll probably agree to an election, but what are you going to do? And probably, the no confidence vote's coming up, I think, on Tuesday this week coming up. And Jagmeet wasn't going to vote yes for a no confidence vote anyway, because his party's in the shitter as well. Did I say shitter? I got to try and be more polite. In the toilet. His party's also in the toilet. If there was an election right now, he would lose seats. So he's not in a good position anyway. So, we're just stuck. We're stuck. We're stuck with True China. I have to do an applause anytime True China is mentioned in the chat or when I say it. Let's see. Antipop says he's talking about the dogs that are painted to look like pandas in China. He says they pant and bark. They pant and bark. We might have to just go take a look at it. Hold on. Let's see. In fact, we'll do this. Fact check. Okay. China zoo paints dogs to look like pandas. I think we have to do it. All right, let's go. Let's just go.
Check it out.
Yeah. Ads. That's not my. If it was my ad, it'd be awesome. But it's not.
Were in fact painted dogs. According to the New York Post, visitors at the Shanwei Zoo realized they were being bamboozled when the so-called pandas began panting and barking. Pandas are native.
When the pandas began panting and barking. I don't know. Somehow this actually makes me like China more.
To China and an international symbol of the country. In one visitor's video, one of the pandas was visibly panting while resting on a rock in a fence, while another clip had a panda with a long tail strolling about. It's a pandog, one viewer wrote. Someone else joked, that's...
Why do they kind of like blur out some of the panda stuff? Like what, they trying to protect their identity? I really don't get that. But yeah, the reason that people suspected that the pandas might actually be dogs painted as pandas is because they're quite obviously dogs painted as pandas. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty good paint job, but it's still just obviously a dog painted as a panda. I don't know, but I gotta say though, there's a part of me, for some reason, I don't understand why, this kind of makes me like China more. Anyway, you're welcome, Antipop. Let's see. Rosie says, are they disguising themselves to keep them from being eaten? I think that picture was I think that dog was actually in Springfield, I think. Ivana said, the comb over on the cat is killing me. I know. That's great, isn't it? It's beautiful. It's what the internet is for. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Rosie says, we can write ads for you. Hey, if there's anything you guys want me to do an ad read for, if you've got any products or anything, just throw it in the chat and I'll do that ad read for you. 100%. Let's see what else we got. What else do we have here? John Arnott says they're eating the bears. Uh-oh. Yeah, that wouldn't fool them in Springfield, I don't think. Still eat them. Let's see. All right. I think it's time we started getting into the news. What are we? Half an hour in already. Good Lord. Where does the time go? Let's check out the likes first before we do that. Well, it's not a bad start. 6, but we can do better. Can absolutely do better. Now, if you're not subscribed to the channel, you should subscribe right now immediately. And I usually go on a rant about karma, about the good karma, because in the preparation time that it takes me to get these long live streams ready, what I'm doing in that time is I'm building up a reservoir of extra good karma. And then I think I could keep it to myself, right? You can't have enough good karma these days. These are troubled times. But then keeping the good karma would be bad karma. So the only way for me to get more good karma is to give away the good karma. How do I do that? People subscribe to the channel. When people like the stream, I give them some of that excess of good karma that I've built up while I'm preparing the show. So it's very easy. All you have to do is press like, or you have to subscribe to the channel. If you do both, you get double. If you're the first like, you get double good karma. People put testimonials in the chat telling me about the good things that have happened to them. It could be something small. You find, a couple of bucks on the street. Could be something huge. You just don't know. But it's going to be something good. And I was thinking about something before we get started. I went on a long rant on Tuesday night. I got back from my trip on Monday. Like a 9-hour trip, right? And I almost hit a deer on the highway. It was very, very close. At highway speeds, it's a lot of kinetic energy. You hit something like a deer, that thing might be coming right through your windshield. Take you out. That could be it. A lot of problems can happen if you hit a deer on the highway. And there's something else. The day that I was leaving for the trip, the week before, I got into a verbal altercation with a loudmouth, a big mouth retard. Wasn't actually retarded. If he was, I wouldn't say that. And they're not going to shout at you anyway. They're lovely people. But you know what I mean. This big mouth piece of human garbage. And afterwards, I was thinking to myself, if that guy were to have just dropped dead in front of me of a heart attack right then, I would have been okay with that. In fact, I probably would have been just fine with it because I have kind of a vengeful nature. And then I thought afterward, and then I thought again, it's not like I asked the universe to intervene. I didn't. But I just was thinking to myself, if the universe just decided to kill that man, and it had nothing to do with me, because I'm nonviolent. I would never do anything like that. I'm a nonviolent person. But if the universe decided to kill that man, to strike him down, to smite him, you might say, I would have been okay with it. I thought it might have cheered me up. If I had woken up the next day, and I'd looked at the local news, and then there was a picture of that guy's face, and the headline said, "Man abducted by Satanists and burned alive," I thought to myself, you know what, universe? I owe you one. And it would have really brightened up my day. This is what I was thinking to myself. And again, I'm not a bad person. I would never. I believe in nonviolence, right? I believe in voting, that sort of thing, right? Argument. But I was really kind of annoyed. And as you do when you're a bit annoyed, you kind of imagine about how you wouldn't mind it if the person who had annoyed you was abducted by Satanists and burned alive. And then I thought nothing more of it. until after I almost hit that deer on the trip home. So on the way up there, I have this problem. But then on the way home, then I have another serious, much more serious problem. The first thing was really nothing, right? Lasted like 2 minutes. But on the way home, it was very close call. And I'm starting to think to myself, do you know what happened? Normally I'm building up. My life is great. I have a fantastic life. I'm very happy. And what am I doing? I'm building up good karma all the time through my channel. But on that day, I didn't. You know what I built up? Simply by just being open to the universe, perhaps murdering that guy that I got into the argument with, by having him abducted by Satanists and burnt alive. By doing that, that actually created a lot of negative karma for me. Bad karma. Bad karma. I thought, well, you got to be careful. So I've apologized now and said, no, I'll never ask that again. I will never ask the universe to murder somebody that has irritated me again. And now it's just about good karma. So again, I built up my good karma again now, right? Just through getting ready for the stream. And you can have some of that good karma too. And maybe that idiot, that loudmouth idiot who irritated me so much, maybe at some point he'd gone onto Rumble and watched one of my streams and said, hey, that's pretty good, and liked it. What did he get? He got good karma. And guess what didn't happen to him, as far as I know? Didn't get abducted by Satanists and burned alive. So, my point being that you can never have too much good karma. So like the stream right now, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel now. It certainly can't hurt you. And the universe might smile on you a little bit. All right. Let's see. I feel like you guys probably have something to say about that little rant there. John Arnott says, I don't like that guy either. I didn't think you guys would. Let's see. Antipop says, or their plane falls from the sky. Plane falls from the sky. That's another one too. But then other people, right? Then other people get hurt. So that's yeah. No, you can't hope for that. Let's see. Satanist is a safe way. Radio streamer, good to see ya. Let's see. Radio streamer says, Radio Baloney, I'm nonviolent. That's me. That would be me saying I'm nonviolent. Then proceeds to daydreaming like 9 to 5 with Dolly Parton. Yes, that's a good one. Rosie says, Senor Baloney, no, karma is not real. Just go along with it. JJ Nevada says, karma is real. Be careful. Yep. Well, I think karma is like do unto others, right? So I think it works in multifaceted ways. Rosie says, if you truly have that kind of power, let's use it in the stock market or the election. See, that's the thing. Sadly, I don't. Unfortunately, I'm sure that guy is perfectly happy, as much as it might irritate me. Good to have a clear conscience. It's true. John Arnott says, quick question. Did wish bad to happen out loud or to yourself? I might have muttered it. You know, just to myself. Something like, no, he just fucking kills that guy. Something like that, probably. It might have just been to myself. I can't recall. A streamer says 0 and 9.5. out of 10 rent rating. Oh, and 9.5 out of 10 rent rating. Well, thank you very much. That's too kind. Let's see. Oh, Antipop says private plane falls from the sky. That's a good, that one's fine. But he has to be piloting it himself with nobody else on the plane. Let's see. Rosie's saying John must be on YouTube. We need John to come to Rumble. You do indeed need to come to Rumble because we'll only be doing YouTube. See, we stream on YouTube and Rumble at the same time, but because of censorship issues, I only do like the first hour on YouTube now, and then I have to cut that off and we continue with Rumble, but that's when the party really starts. That's when it gets really fun. So it's very easy. It's very easy. The Rumble app is on like smart TVs and it's on like, I've got it on my Roku. It's on Apple TV, everywhere. You can get everywhere. It's very easy. And it's just, just changing app basically on your phone or your computer or whatever. It's very, very simple. It's very easy. Take you a couple of seconds. You're done. It's beautiful the way that it works out. So yeah, I'll let you know. I'll give you a warning before we cut it off. But you might want to think very seriously about coming over to Rumble, and then there's no interruption. We just keep going. We'll probably be going for, I don't know, 5 hours tonight, maybe 6. Sometimes we do 6. Sometimes it's 4. Sometimes it's 5. Sometimes it's 6. Got a feeling it might be a long one tonight, though. Rosie says 10 out of 10 rant performance. Excellent. Streamer says, why do I get the feeling you may have been a handful as a kid? Because I was. Okay, well, Antipop makes an excellent point here. I spoke too soon. He said, Chrystia Freeland with him on the private plane. Uh-oh. Streamer says, I just had a vision of you getting hit with a newspaper after speaking under your breath in the back seat of an old car as a kid. I'm sure that happened. And now you guys are adding more people onto the plane. You know what? No, I'm going to say just that guy. Just that guy. That's it. All right. Now we shall begin. And I've got to say, I'm really pissed off about this ads reads thing. It's irritating. There's some glitch where it won't let me, because I enjoy doing them. I make nothing. Like if on a good night, I'll make like maybe $3 from those ads. But I still enjoy doing them. And it's fun. It breaks it up. You know what? It gives me like a little energy boost. So I don't know. I got to figure something out. Maybe I just got to sign out and re-sign back in again before I go live. It's irritating as hell. It's disappointing for me. All right. But let's get started. Toronto teachers take students on field trip to pro-Palestinian march, lead them in anti-Semitic chants. These are grade 7, grade 8 kids. These teachers are lunatics. These teachers are fanatics. These teachers are woke cultists. They are crazy. They think the kids belong to them. You see, they're all Marxists. They think everything belongs to the state, including you and including your children. Everything. And nothing happens. Nothing happens. We know this is a problem, and it's just allowed to continue and fester and get worse and worse and worse and rot and rot and rot. I mean, is the goal to eventually just have children learn nothing but activism? I think that's it. I mean, this is all the critical pedagogy. This is critical pedagogy. That's what's taken over. It's this thing founded by this guy, Paulo Freire, I believe his name was, a fucking Marxist revolutionary. Of course, he said himself openly that the purpose of education was to turn children into revolutionaries. That's the purpose. Well, it seems like his legacy lives on, doesn't it? It lives on in Canadian schools, where the teachers feel that it's perfectly responsible to, without their parents' consent, take students on a field trip to pro-Palestinian march, lead them in anti-Semitic chants. I'm not saying they should be taking them to pro-Israel rants. I'm not saying they should be taking them to pro-Israel protests or pro-Israel marches. I'm saying that they shouldn't take them to any of this shit, that politics should be left out of it completely. I think all of them should be fired. I think there should be background checks to make sure the teachers aren't commies, right? I mean, at this point, they're just up to no good. Every single one of them. They're just up to no good. All they seem to care about is communism and far left causes. Far left causes they don't even understand. Quote, they lied about the purpose of the field trip. They lied about what students would do. The Toronto District School Board teachers who lied to Toronto parents must be held accountable. Independent MP Kevin Wong wrote. Yes, they must be held accountable. Must be. You know what their punishment should be? They should have to teach about the crimes of communism, the crimes of Lenin, the crimes of Stalin, the crimes of Mao, of Pol Pot, of Fidel Castro, of Che, right? That should be their punishment. They should be forced to, and monitored every second. Can you imagine how much that would pain them? To tell the children the truth about their demented ideology? Can you imagine how painful that would be for them? Would they learn a lesson? Of course not. Would they actually learn something? No, because it would all go in one out. It would all go in one ear and out the other ear. Of course, they would retain none of it because their ideology teaches them not to. Toronto District School Board teachers reportedly misled students and parents about the objective of a field trip Wednesday as kids in grades 7 and 8 reportedly marched to an anti-Israel and pro-Palestine as kids in grades 7 and 8 reportedly marched to anti-Israel and pro-Palestine slogans being shouted by their instructors. Misled students and parents. Oh, far leftist lying, especially to children's parents. What a surprise that is. Video reportedly taken of the trip shows children being led as adults chants. Here we go. Okay, see, here's what. Video reportedly taken of the trip shows children being led as adults chants of from Turtle Island to Palestine, occupation is a crime. So what is Turtle Island? Well, that's supposedly North America. Turtle Island. Okay, it's not called Turtle Island, though. It's called Canada, right? Canada. North America isn't actually a turtle. Right? That's well established. Geologists will tell you that. It's not a turtle. I mean, I know modern ones maybe don't know the difference. I don't know. I mean, the point of modern education, the point of modern universities seems to be to mislead everybody into believing untrue things about the world and people and the universe, but whatever. But you see, they just can't help themselves from Turtle Island to Palestine. So really, it's about Canada's racist. That's what it's really about. I mean, underneath it all, the foundation of it all is, of course, communism, Marxism, right? That's, where they get their oppressor-oppressed narrative from, right? So Turtle Island, of course, they're all for decolonizing, whatever that means. Whatever that means. What is decolonizing? What is that exactly? Is that just you pick everything up and just take it back to Europe? No, it's not. They still want all that stuff. They just want to run it. Of course, they still want cars. They still want houses. They want electricity. They want modern medicine. They want all the conveniences of modern life. They want air conditioning in the summer. They want heat in the winter, right? They want all of that. They just want to run it. That's what decolonization means. Decolonization just means taking control of everything so that you can turn your civilization into a Marxist hellhole. Turtle Island. See, it's not Turtle Island, though. It's not. They're lying to the children. Lying to them. I mean, I'd like to see the lies they're telling them about Palestine as well. From Turtle Island to Palestine, occupation is a crime. So, okay, so they're saying that Canada and Israel, Gaza are the same thing. I liked it better when Gaza wasn't in Canada. I kind of preferred that. When we knew these were different places, completely different cultures, not the same thing at all. When somebody would have, back in the day, when somebody would have said, what the fuck does Gaza have to do with Canada? Precisely nothing, by the way. The adults appear to be wearing keffiyehs and face coverings in the footage. Of course they are. Of course they are. They're all cult members. The field trip was reportedly supposed to be about how Indigenous people belonging to the Grassy Narrows First Nation suffered from mercury contamination. Everything has to be political in some way, right? Everything. Canada sucks. Everything about Canada is terrible. Do you think they teach them one positive thing, one thing to make them feel proud of Canada? Of course not. Yeah, like you can teach real history. You can teach everything. You can give the full picture of history, but the problem is they don't give the full picture. It's only negative. Everything has to be negative because they hate Western civilization. They want to destroy it so that they can build a communist hellhole. Parents were reportedly told that children would not actually be participating in the Queen's Park demonstration about Indigenous health, but rather be there to observe. Independent MP Kevin Vuong spoke out against the field trip, saying it was a violation of trust and that any teachers who lied about what the event was about should be held to account. They should be fired, all of them. Quote, they lied about the purpose of the field trip. They lied about what students would do. The Toronto District School Board teachers who lied to Toronto parents must be held accountable. They should all be fired. It is not clear what school was involved in the reported incident. Others posted about the event. Others posted about the event, including the Consul General of Israel in Toronto. Quote, shocking 7th and 8th graders from public schools in Toronto were taken yesterday on a Toronto District School Board approved field trip, not to a museum, but to march in a political protest where they chanted pro-Palestine slogans. Adults in keffiyehs and face coverings led the way, while young minds were subjected to a one-sided political narrative. Can you imagine what they're actually teaching them in the schools? I don't want them brainwashing children into their political activism, their one-sided political activism. This is just an utter and total disgraceful betrayal of trust. But are these people soulless? Are they psychopaths? At no point do they say to themselves, what we're doing is unethical. Okay. Have we thought about that? Have we thought about how unethical it is what we're doing? Trying to brainwash children into our cult? I say cameras recording every single second of every class in Canada from now on until they can get rid of this. This is shocking. This is a disgrace. This is an abomination. I know it's not every teacher. We don't know what percentage it is. So we don't know. Everything's kept secret. If it's 1%, it's 1% too many that needs to be removed. Let's see. All right. Anyway, I guess that's. What do you guys think of this? Let's see. Let's see. Streamer says you could always play a scene from BoobTube if you need an ad. No, absolutely not. Let's see. Antipup says, before everything went to crap, I walked past the high school where they were learning to protest. Yeah, that's what they're doing now. They're teaching them to protest. Children are learning to be activists now. That's what some of the teachers appear to care about, and some of the school boards, obviously. Oh, yeah. So what streamer says, so that's what Pink Floyd was on about. Yeah, leave those kids alone. Leave them alone. Let's see. So is John Arnott, is that our not Z? Oh, good Lord. I'm not reading that name out all night. Let's see. They don't know terror until they met my parents. God rest their souls. Let's see. Antipop says, what are they protesting? I asked. And then let's see. They don't know yet was my answer from Antipop. They don't know yet. Oh, yeah. Okay. Of course they don't know. They just know which way the wind is blowing, right? What's fashionable right now, what flag they're supposed to put in their bio, even if they don't know what country the flag's for. Doesn't matter. All right. Man, you guys are busy in the chat. I'm going to skip to the end here and take a look. Let's see. All right, let's continue. All right, so that one really pisses me off because it is really just a total betrayal of trust. It's a disgraceful betrayal of trust. In fact, it is genuinely an abomination. This is how you destroy societies. It's through this shit. But anyway, let's continue. All right, Trump called for National Guard to be on hand for January 6th. Pentagon officials delayed over optics from a report. So this is something we've heard about before, about Trump wanting, hold on a second. No, it's telling me that there's an ad ready to go, and then I go to the page and it's not there. God damn it. Pisses me off. All right, the glitch continues. Anyway, Lieutenant Walter Pyatt told Capitol Police Chief Sund and others that he didn't want the National Guard because of the optics of the National Guard standing in a line with the Capitol in the background. I wonder if it was something else, perhaps. I wonder if there's another reason why they didn't want a force there that could have prevented violence. Or what was really a fairly minor riot on one side of the building. The Committee on House Administration's Subcommittee on Oversight, led by Chairman Barry Loudermilk, Republican from Georgia, has uncovered statements from key personnel on January 6, 2021, that show that Pentagon officials needlessly delayed the National Guard response to the protest and riot going on at the Capitol building for optics. Again, I wonder if it was something more than that. The transcripts released from the report show that General Mark Milley, he's the white rage general. He's the woke general of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, recalled a conversation that Trump had with Pentagon officials on January 3rd, a few days before the incident. Trump had wanted the protests to stay safe, and Milley recalled that that Trump told him and other Pentagon officials to, quote, do whatever you have to do, just make sure it's safe. Trump is saying, do whatever you have to do, just make sure it's safe. Doesn't sound like a guy who was planning an insurrection, does it? Doesn't sound like that at all. It's interesting, isn't it? Let's continue. Milley recalled the January 3 conversation between Trump and acting Secretary of Defense Chris Miller in an April 16 interview. The president just says, hey, look at this. There's going to be a large amount of protesters here on the 6th. Make sure that you have sufficient National Guard or soldiers to make sure it's a safe event. I don't care if you use guard or soldiers, active duty soldiers. Do whatever you have to do. Just make sure it's safe. Miller responds by saying, hey, we've got a plan and we've got it covered. They did seem to have a plan. I feel like they did have a plan, and they did have it covered. And I think it went exactly how they wanted it to go. I think the way you might have prevented that was if you'd listened to Trump, but they didn't. And I kind of feel, I highly suspect that they had a plan. They had a plan, and the plan went according to plan. On January 6, 2021, the outer perimeter on the west front of the U.S. Capitol was breached by protesters at around 12:53 p.m. Miller did not give approval for the D.C. National Guard until 3:04 p.m., and that message did not get to Major General William Walker, the general overseeing the D.C. Guard, until 5:08 p.m., more than 2 hours later, per the timeline from the subcommittee. All very convenient, isn't it? All very convenient. Sounds like the plan went according to plan. After the fact, Miller said in an interview conducted by the Department of Defense Inspector General on March 12, 2021, that on J6, quote, there is absolutely no way I was putting U.S. military forces at the Capitol, period. And I think we know why. Trump had requested that there be 10,000 National Guard troops at the Capitol building for that day, as stated by Miller in a different interview transcript conducted by the J6 Select Subcommittee, where he said that the president commented that they were going to need 10,000 troops on J6 from the National Guard. However, Miller told the DoD that in his mind, if U.S. military forces were to be used, it was last resort because, he commented, if we put U.S. military personnel on the Capitol, it would have created the greatest constitutional crisis probably since the Civil War. Wait a second, I thought it already was the worst since the Civil War. That's what CNN keeps saying, because that would have been interpreted by the press, by the punditry, but most importantly by the elected officials on the Hill as an effort by the Trump administration to influence the Electoral College count. That sounds like total bullshit to me. What did Trump say? Make sure you have sufficient National Guard or soldiers to make sure it's a safe event. I don't care if you use Guard or soldiers, active duty soldiers. Do whatever you have to do. Just make sure it's safe. Doesn't sound like a guy planning an insurrection, does it? All right, so I think that's enough of that we need to see, but I mean, it just reinforces everything we kind of already knew, right? That we already knew, didn't we? But it's kind of depressing, actually. Every error always goes in a certain direction, doesn't it? It helps in a certain way. It's a funny thing. All right. I think this is the point in the show. So I think we still got a few people watching on YouTube. Please come over and join us on Rumble, because I'm going to have to, for censorship reasons on YouTube, StalinTube, MaoTube, you can call it what you want. Call it Pol Pot Tube if you want. Call it Commie Tube. Call it whatever you want, but call it Cultural Revolution Tube. But for censorship reasons, which I've experienced many times on that channel, we have to cut it off right now, actually. And we'll continue on probably for another 4 hours at least on Rumble. So just come over to Rumble. The people here are super friendly. You'll really be surprised at how friendly the people are here. It's a wonderful place. They'll welcome you in, welcome you into the community. And there's always way more people that watch on Rumble. So I hope to see you over here. But anyways, if not, I will see you on Sunday. See you later.